Good afternoon and greetings from Philadelphia. Today we're here at the Philadelphia Zoo, which is America's first zoo. And I haven't been here in a long time. Molly, you've never been here before.
I've never been here.
And in this video, we're going to show you around and show you all the animals and exhibits that can be found at the Philadelphia Zoo. This African exhibit is very nice, at least right now. As you can see, there are rhinoceros and the zebras. Everybody's out, everybody's up. That is a very large rhinoceros.
He's giant. He's also eating.
Here you can see the big hippopotamus.
Will it go in the water?
I don't know. Normally they hang out most of the day in the water. To see them out of the water like that is not super duper common.
It is all cold though. Maybe it's just like food on the stairs.
Maybe. If you're a big fan of hippopotamuses, be sure to check out the video we just filmed recently at the Cincinnati Zoo, as we got to see their baby Fritz, their little tiny hippopotamus, who was the cutest thing ever. But looks like he is indeed going for that swim.
Yeah.
Real treat here. You can see both hippopotamuses now in the water. I think they swim around and eat the leaves. Oh no, he's wiggling his ears. Must mean he's angry. The thing that's great about this enclosure is you get incredibly close to the hippopotamus, like not behind glass. You can see 3 giraffes over here, all hanging out on the edge of the enclosure. Now for a couple dollars at the zoo you can feed the giraffes. It's about $6. But right now it appears as these guys are not overly hungry. So far I believe this might be the largest enclosure we've seen in the entire zoo. You can see a red river hog doing what they do best, using their snoot to dig around for bugs. And it's also going to be home to the Watusi cattle in here. And you can see they have a lot of room. I believe the cattle are some of the newer animals at the zoo. And you can see their awesome horns. The next section of the zoo is Big Cat Falls. We are now in the Big Cat Falls area. You can see a beautiful, beautiful tiger.
He's really pretty.
Guess what?
Big Cat Falls is a kind of an interesting exhibit. There's 2 enclosures and they'll cycle through a number of big cats, whether it be more tigers, jaguars, lions, leopards, or snow leopards. Way off in the distance you can see the jaguar, sort of. I would definitely say if you're going to the Philadelphia Zoo, come to this exhibit as your first thing, because there's so many animals that they rotate out. You might come back the first time and see a lion, come back the second time and see a tiger or a snow leopard, and catch the animals while they're on rotation. All throughout the Philadelphia Zoo, you will see tunnels like this, and it's part of what they call the Zoo 360 program, where the animals that they wanted to can roam around in the tunnels. They had them for some of the smaller ape species, the gorillas, the big cats. Unfortunately, the day we visited, we've walked around, we have seen not a single animal in any of these, but it's an interesting idea. Here you can see some sleepy lions, and we did a little bit more exploring and found out, oh, he's awake. We found out that there were actually 5 different enclosures for the 5 different species, not 2. We didn't see the other ones when we first walked by. Now we're up close and personal with a lion.
I'm sleepy.
And a sleepy lioness.
Hear that?
The Big Cat area does have a 6-minute long theater show.
I'm Jessica, and I'm from Philadelphia. Happy to meet you. This is my video blog for my safari to Kenya.
Very pretty animal here.
We have a leopard?
Yeah, it's either a leopard or a jaguar. Beautiful. Not in a great pose for us, but sleeping on the table, there is a snow leopard. I love whenever zoos do something like this, as in front of us, there's just 2 handlers taking a goat on a walk. Right now we're in the section of the zoo called Bear Country. And over here you can see one of the zoo's Andean bears. Aww. Of course, Andean bears are the same type of bear that the famous character Paddington is. Those are great movies. Had to turn the camera back on because you can see the bear now eating some greens.
He's so cute.
Staring right at us is the oh so adorable sloth bear. Look at how fluffy and adorable it is. Oh, you just want to give it a big old hug.
He does look like a teddy bear.
These sloth bears, they don't have the nicest enclosure, but they do have a very large enclosure. Plenty of room for him to wander around. Pretty nice exhibit here. This is the Australian outpost, which is home to your kangaroos. That one is just posing ever so nicely. There are also some big old emus in here.
Actually, that might be an eastern gray kangaroo.
Also, I really like this. Right by the Australian outback area, they got these nice Adirondack chairs, so you could sit down and then just watch the emus wander by. Right now we're at Penguin Point. Now these guys, they are Humboldt penguins, native to South America. And they have a nice enclosure. It's very big, and you can view them from above ground or the underwater viewing. Here's a better view of the waterfall the penguins have. See it waddling around over there. And one last view of the penguins. They have a lot of Humboldt penguins. They do live in these those little holes in the rocks and caves. As you can see, those two over there. A very different enclosure for meerkats. It's labeled as the meerkat maze. You can see the little guys, whether they're running around. This one just hanging out on top. Very different enclosure for meerkats. Allows you also to get very close to them. I like how they're these three are running in a pack. I do love whenever meerkats sit up like that. I always think they're sitting like they're people. Molly, you bring up an interesting point with their meerkat enclosure. Of course, he's giving us the business end right there. Oh, there it is. But you get to be like eye to eye with a meerkat.
Yeah, you never get that.
No, so this guy is up on his little plank. It's probably a good 5 feet in the air. Let's head on into this building, the Rare Animal Conservation Center. This building definitely feels like a little bit older buildings, like very 60s or 70s, but they have a lot of really cool animals in here. Like you can see hanging up there, a two-toed sloth.
And he's moving and not sleeping.
Yeah. Right now he's giving himself a good scratch as he hangs from the roof of his enclosure. Living right next to the sloth is a prehensile tail porcupine. You can see him napping oh so peacefully up there in a very cute pose. In the prehensile tail porcupine enclosure, there is also a marmoset. You can see right there. Oh, adorable little guys hopping around there. Those are golden lion tamarins. You can see it definitely looks like they have access to something up on top of the roof as he just hopped down from there. This one is not a lemur species you see in nearly as many zoos. That is a blue-eyed black lemur.
They're home to the world's oldest.
And he's moving around a little bit. Here you can see a ton of fruit bats. This is a pied tamarin. Very interesting ears. Here is an animal you don't see at many zoos. That's the giant elephant shrew. And they're pretty neat. You can see a smaller one. I believe that's born within the last month. Is that guy there. Their noses are fascinating. Definitely looks like they are used to dig for treats.
They're really cool.
So there's a second area for the elephant shrew. You can see it wandering around there. And both the elephant shrews are paired up with types of animals. The first one had a sleeping sloth, and this one is paired up with a TT monkey. Who are these wonderful fuzzy little guys? The flamingos have a pretty nice amount of room here to wander around. You see one showing off for us. Paired up with the flamingos, you do have a goose. A big fluffy, noise-making goose. Let's check out the Pico Primate Reserve. The first animal we got to in the primate forest area is the lemurs. Now, we were visiting in the middle of October. It gets pretty cold here in Philadelphia, so these animals have both indoor and outdoor enclosures. A lot of them are hanging out inside.
I do not believe them.
Nope.
It's cold.
There's a mini exhibit for the eyes of the night forest. Couldn't film inside there because it was really, really, really dark. But some of the animals you could find, the eye, the slow loris, the bush baby. I didn't see any of them. It was so dark in there. But I would have loved to see the giant jumping rat. Look at that thing. Currently biting its tail is a white-faced Saki monkey. Also in this enclosure, way up top, some golden lion tamarins. Looks like it's feeding time for the gibbons.
Tamarin, golden tamarin.
Oh, that one's climbing.
That one was like swinging like Tarzan.
That one's climbing though.
He's a little guy too.
Huh?
I'm really enjoying watching these gibbons. They kind of swing like Spider-Man from the various things that hang from the enclosure.
And they run with their hands up.
Yeah, they're a very fun animal to sit and watch for a little bit. The zoo is a large outdoor yard for gorillas. It would make sense with it being cold today that they're not outside. I figured this was going to be their inside home, but you can see it's not gorillas in here, but black and white colobus monkeys. There is a little squirrel monkey just hanging out on the steps of a ladder. Something very neat about the design of the primate enclosure, that there is a second level that you can take the stairs up to and get a different view of the animals. That way, if they're all hanging out up here, you get a good view of them. This dinosaur statue welcomes you to the reptile and amphibian house. First animal you got to was a whole bunch of Galapagos tortoises.
1932, I think, is the oldest one.
Oh, he's 90 years old this year. This animal is the green anaconda. Something interesting, most zoos only have one anaconda on exhibit at once. This one has two. Swimming around down there is a West African dwarf crocodile. And you can get a good look of one out of the water right there. They do have some larger reptiles in here, like the West African crocodile. You then enter a section where it is a lot more smaller animals. The spiny-tailed lizard has found himself a wonderful spot to sleep. Find this interesting. Sleeping down here, you got two western diamondback rattlesnakes, and sleeping right there with them, an Gila monster.
That's very interesting.
Not the easiest guy to see with the glare, but that is a sailfin lizard with a very large tail. Oh, and it's moving around. And shaking his head about how cool he is. The water monitor is currently sleeping on a floating log.
It's the best.
Right in front of us, posing ever so nicely, this is the common Florida snapping turtle. Really pretty. The zoo does have my personal favorite snake, the Gaboon viper. I really like the design of this section of the zoo. I had to imagine this is like the children's zoo with the climbing stuff and the slides, but it's surrounded by goats, and the goats also have stuff they can climb up on. In the children's zoo area, you will also find some alpacas and some sheep. Here's an indoor section of the children's zoo, and I love the little tiny birds. This fella here is a bearded dragon. There's a variety of environmental exhibits and a very nice coral reef style aquarium. The exhibits continue, and this one has a giant ant in it. This is fun. There is a a section for rats. Talking about how they're smart little animals. So I was looking at this one.
No, there's 3 in there.
And if we go this way a little bit, look at that guy's little face. He's just sticking out a little hole. With there being a giant ant, it would make sense that there is also an area for ants. Complete with a pop-up window.
And the ants can move from one to the other to the other.
Yeah. All aboard, next stop, Guinea Pig Junction.
They're so cute.
Yeah, that one just ran up a little ramp. They're so adorable. Oh my goodness. This fella here is an Ossabaw Island hog.
They're a small breed of pig, but can weigh over 200 pounds. I don't call that small.
Molly, I have a feeling I'll probably like this next exhibit.
Yeah,
called...
those are 2 animals you really like.
Yep, and the exhibit is Water is Life, home to Red Panda Pass and Otter Falls. There's a bird enclosure here as well, home to the golden pheasant. That's the kind of animal, like if you showed me a picture of it, I would assume it was fake. Good news, the Water is Life exhibit felt very, very modern, very big with lots of places to see the animals. The bad news, like there's 3 different enclosure areas for the red pandas, 3 different enclosure animals, areas for the giant otter, including this one with a full water slide in it. But yeah, we didn't see either animal.
Nope.
It's very possible they could have been hiding or they're off exhibit when we walked by. In the middle of the zoo, you do have a big old lake. And we are gonna head into the McNeil Avian Center. In this big old looking building. I do like the turkey statues on top. That's pretty wonderful. Upon entering the birdhouse, you do notice it's very warm in here, very kind of a rainforest type feel. Looks like there's an African savanna section that's currently closed.
And that bird's really cool.
Yeah. Looks like a big peacock. Oh, there's a bunch of peacocks. Also in the peacock enclosure is a bird of paradise with a long, pretty tail.
It's a really, really pretty bird.
Looks like the birdhouse is home to a film that plays every 14 minutes. Otis's Big Adventure. The Otis Big Adventure film, it's actually kind of interesting. It's presented on a couple of different screens in the theater. It does seem like there's much more to the birdhouse, but right now it is closed. There has been an outbreak of avian flu in different parts of the country, so it's probably done for the animals' safety. A very large aviary building for a couple of southern ground hornbills. And they're hanging out right here near the people.
They don't spend a lot of time flying.
Also, it's the month of October as we're filming this, and they were given a pumpkin to eat today. That is fun. Not operating today, but normally for an upcharge, you could go on the ropes course here at the zoo. I like they've got a big zip line on it that goes like around the curve. And then they also have the little tiny ropes course for the little tiny ones. Pretty good sized bird enclosure here. This species of sleeping duck. Molly, you found the cheetahs.
I did.
As I was looking around for a couple minutes and I'm like, maybe it's too cold for them. Nope, they are having a little cat nap over there in the sun. Good eyes. Hanging out over there in the sun is a man wolf. Molly, you've been watching him for quite a bit now.
Yeah. He puts his head down, and then anytime he hears a person, he picks up.
And now he's got a scratch.
Now he does.
While not very active at the moment, this enclosure is for spider monkeys. You can see them asleep up there on top of what looks like a playground structure. But I would say if these guys were up and moving around, they've got so much stuff to play on.
They do.
Not operating on the day we are visiting, but they do have a pretty neat carousel. I love the like the turtle bench that is also a wheelchair accessible.
No, that's really nice.
And you could ride, I think that's a capybara or like a Tasmanian devil.
I think that's an armadillo, like straight in the back.
Lots of cool animals. And very pretty on top too.
Yeah, with the snake. Look at the snake.
A very detailed carousel. We happen to be using the Philadelphia Zoo during October, so the zoo is all decorated for Halloween. And my favorite decorations they have, and they have these all throughout the zoo, is different animals made out of pumpkins.
And pig looks evil eyes.
He does. Hey Molly, what time is it?
2:15, also known as Beer 30.
Yes, they actually have a nice selection here of craft beers. Unfortunately, they are all in cans, but we got a little, staying in the holiday spirit here in October. We got a baked pumpkin ale by the Lancaster Brewing Company. Not my favorite pumpkin beer, but it's very easy to drink. Also, this Tiger Terrace has the aesthetics of like an old Pizza Hut.
It does.
And that'll do it for our time here at the Philadelphia Zoo. A little bit of information is $24 to get into. If you are members with a different AZA zoo that does the reciprocal program, you will get in for half off. And it is $17 to park your car. I would say not one of my favorite zoos in the country, but I had a good time in the roughly 3 hours or so we've been here. I think the best enclosures were, I like the penguin enclosure a lot. I like the cat enclosure, and I thought their children's zoo was very modern.
Yes. They also had a lot of birds, but because of the bird flu right now, a lot of the birds were off exhibit.
Yes. I will say, do you have a favorite animal we saw today?
The elephant. Oh.
Yeah, the elephant shrew is probably mine as well.
Yep.
A close follower were the hippopotamuses. Those were really, really neat. One thing about the zoo, it seems like there's a lot of like, now it's the oldest zoo in America, but it seems like it's not in the best of shape. Like they do have some modern enclosures, but there's also areas of the zoo that just like seem like it's closed down or shuttered.
Yes.
And it doesn't look great.
The back half seemed very empty. Granted, again, could be with the bird.
And we are visiting not during the summertime either.
Yeah.
So some warm weather animals could be off exhibit. But yeah, there's something where it's like, oh, you can tell this used to be an exhibit and now it's nothing. Or this used to be, I couldn't even tell you, and there's just like a temporary fence in front of it.
Though I do think the enclosures that they do have are really big exhibits.
Yeah, they have some that are really nice size, like how much room the Ancole cattle and the Red River hogs had. Now, if you have any questions about the Philadelphia Zoo, let me know in the comment section below, and thank you very much for watching.